Welcome to Belfast, Wales. So today's guest is Jeremy McCann. Jeremy McCann runs range of motion fitness, and you've probably seen a lot of his videos, materials on Facebook. And Jeremy uh, runs basically a lot of stuff, helps with improving your uh, mobility, functional fitness, and improving muscle imbalances. And welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Jonathan. It's pretty exciting to be able to be sitting here in Southern California and be able to talk to you on the other side of the world about fitness related things and getting people to move and feel a whole lot better, you know?
No, thank you. It's great to have you on. Again, Jeremy, I've seen a lot of your stuff on Facebook, and I've bought a few of your programs. Um, can you tell us a wee bit about your early years? I read that you originally wanted to become a baseball player.
Uh, yeah, I mean, I think I probably knew how to swing a bat and run the bases before I could put my own pants on, to be honest with you. I don't know what it was. It's like my little girl now. She's 8 and completely fascinated with horses, and we ask her why, and she kind of doesn't really know. It's just that there's just that love that was there, and that was kind of the same sort of thing that I had for baseball. I didn't really have any other kind of interest. All I ever wanted to do was play ball. I'd read it, I'd think about it, I'd play it, I'd dream about it. I mean, when I was a kid, I'd wear my uniform to sleep at night and wake up with it in the morning and just ready to go, you know. And that's all I did, and it like kind of was just passion just drove everything that I did. And then, you know, one day it was just kind of all over with, you know, and I had to kind of wander around for a while to figure out what I wanted to do next. But it was the same thing. It's just my heart just kind of leads my way, you know.
Yeah, and basically with your dream to become a baseball player, your dad played a really significant role in pursuing that dream, isn't that right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, both of my parents like were completely awesome. They both passed away in the last, you know, few years here. But I think my mom and dad, they didn't miss a practice. They didn't miss a game. They were 100% like behind like everything both me and my brother did. And it was almost embarrassing because like we'd go to these games and practices and you know, nobody else, no other parents would be there, but they would be there in the front row. It was almost kind of like as a kid, you're just like, just go away. Let me just kind of be like everybody else. And now that like, you know, I've been a father now for a while, but it really makes you understand and appreciate what they did. I mean, they were 100% behind every passion and dream that I had, even though they knew, you know, the chances of me actually becoming, you know, a professional ball player were pretty slim. They would do whatever they could to get me there, you know, which I think is an unbelievable thing to have that kind of support system and have that kind of, you know, that little push behind you all the time when things were rough. And that's pretty much what I've tried to embody with my own kids and my own family is it's your dream, and we don't want to have anybody tell you can't do it. You go and chase it, and no matter what happens, it's going to end up leading to something good. And it might not be exactly what you want, but it's that heart that you put into things that you just cannot deny, you know. And I think my dad was definitely somebody that was behind that 100%, whether I realized it at the time or not. I kind of thought it was a little embarrassing. Like I said, he probably holds the record for being thrown out of games by a fan. Um, you know, and the youth leagues, like this guy he was the best umpire in the entire field and all the fields. And the only problem with it is he'd sit in the stands and let everybody know about it. And they had the power to just say, hey, you got to get out of here. So whenever anything happened to me, you know, he would let the umpires know about it, and then the next thing I know is I'd have to meet him in the parking lot because he would let them know. So, anyways, there you go.
You also, I think it was from another interview that I was reading with yourself. He pretty much instilled if you want to go for this, you have to give this 100%. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I mean, both my dad and my uncle were kind of like my guides for baseball. My dad was a little bit more passive on things. my uncle was more like my coach from the time like I was this big. Like he had a pretty good sized background in coaching and knew the game like really well. And you can't tell from this video, but I'm only 5'5" and I've never been the tall kid. So I've kind of always been told that, like, if you want to compare to everybody else out there, like, you have to do the little things that not everybody else is doing. That means you have to wake up earlier, you have to stay up later, you have to keep working. You have to keep working at your craft to become whatever it is that you want to do. And they told me that, they kind of always left me with the impression that it was okay to just be average. But if that's not what you want, you're always going to have to put a little bit more into it. And I think that, when I look back, and I didn't make it as a ball player, I mean, I didn't make it much further than high school, but that was like the message that I have to give to everyone that I work with and everyone that I know, is that you can't just say you want something. You have to show it in every way. And you have to work on those things that are going to make you better. It's those little details. It's always questioning why. It's always questioning how much more can I do? And I just kind of let that drive me. I mean, I didn't particularly like school. I like to be smarter, but I always thought of it as part of the game. To be able to play ball, you had to do good in the classroom. So to do good in the classroom, all those attributes that I would have on the field, like, I would take them into the room, and I'd always kind of be wondering why, what else can I do to get a little bit smarter? And I think that just kind of translated just into pretty much everything that I do. Being the little kid has been probably the most helpful thing that I've had in my lifetime.
Yeah. You basically, you've got quite a wide range of qualifications from some very well-established institutions. Going into university, was it your goal to become an exercise therapist? Was that always kind of your...
Yeah, like, again, like, I thought I was gonna go to play ball, and when that dream kind of got squandered, like, right away, I really didn't know what I was gonna do. Like, I kept that work ethic in the classroom, but I started off at Cal State San Bernardino, and I spent a few years there, and I was like a psych major. I was a business major. I was an English major. I did pre-law. I ended up in the health science department. I did all these things, and I was doing really, really good. And I had no real direction. And at that time, I have a younger brother. He was a wrestler in high school. And he did really good as a freshman, but he was like scrawny. I mean, he was like 102 pounds, and he needed to get stronger. So I got us both a gym membership, and I started working with him. And that kind of created this thirst to know a little bit more. And then I kind of got this joy of seeing him like evolve a little bit. And that kind of fed my thoughts a little bit that maybe the fitness world is something that I kind of want to stay in and continuing to help people. So at that school, I went and talked to their kinesiology department. I told them what they want, and they're just like, you got to go somewhere else. So I changed schools, changed majors, ended up with a degree in exercise physiology and a minor in human physiology. At the same time, I was working at a 24-hour fitness for a long time. And so it was pretty great. I got to kind of study and use like right away. And that's kind of how all that stuff like just evolved, I guess.
I think that's really an important point, because I was talking to somebody else, and even from my own experience, you can learn a lot of theory, and you think, oh, I've covered everything, but it's not until you go into a real life setting you realize, oh, I don't know anything.
Yeah, I agree without a doubt. I mean, I remember being in classrooms in college, and because I had such a long history in school, I was one of the older students, but I remember when I did transfer to Cal Poly Pomona and was working on exercise physiology, my first couple of years there, I'd be sitting next to, students that were going to graduate, say, next week, and hearing them stressed out about, like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know where I'm going to go. I've just spent all this time, all this money. I've gotten great grades, and I have no idea what I'm going to do with my future. And here I was in these classrooms. I was essentially learning things 1 hour, and then the next hour getting to go and use it, which I was an awesome experience, to be honest with you. And it just kind of one thing fed the other. And I think that's unfortunate. A lot of like high school teenage students will go straight into university and not really know what they want to do, just do it just because that's what everyone else has done, because it's what their parents have done, because that's kind of what society tells you to do, and they end up wasting all this time because there's no passion behind it. And they can't really have the energy that they need for it, and then you just end up in this place where it's just like, what did I just do with myself, and where am I going to go? And I think that that's kind of unfair that we send that message. And fortunately for me, like, I was able to kind of see the light and follow through with it. And here I am right now talking to you.
Yeah. Going into, obviously, your business, range of motion, how did the ROM come about? When did that initial idea to create that?
Oh, man. Yeah, so this might be kind of a long answer, because I kind of thought about the easiest way to explain this. And I think, my background, again, kind of starts with working with my little brother, and that kind of fed the fire to work with people, to train people. Initially I just wanted to work just with athletes, but you being in the business, you kind of know that you go to fitness studios and you work with regular people, you work with the average person, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. And I actually thrived with that for a long time. The one thing that really kind of broke my heart a bit is I'd have these people that would come in with a lot of, cosmetic or aesthetic goals to lose body fat and change their life. And those things are beautiful. The ingredient to get them to where they wanted to be involved moving more and doing it quicker and doing it faster with less rest. And people were able to achieve their body fat loss goals, but most times with the consequence of getting hurt and getting injured. And in those times, not knowing what to do and not having this ability to help people, like, it just kept running me dry. I almost like started to not want to do it. Now, here's where the story kind of gets interesting. This gym is where I met my wife, who I can tell you right now, there's nobody on the planet that loves fitness, that needs fitness more than she does. It's absolutely the first thing that she has to do every day. And when she started getting hurt a little bit and started having to miss out on fitness, that got me thinking a little bit more, well, how could I help? Because there was no greater satisfaction than to be able to teach her something that she could do to prevent injury. And to be able to give her that ability to help her move and continue to do things that she loved kind of got me thinking that, why can't I do this with other people? And this got me investigating into the little things that we don't do enough of traditionally. Foam rolling, stretching, the smaller muscles. These are kind of how everything started to tie together a little bit. So I think that the short version of the story is it was her inspiration to keep her moving and doing the things that she loved, which pretty much is the catalyst for the message that I try to spread to other people all over the world.
Yeah, no, definitely. And the thing I like about the reason why I was kind of drawn to your material and etc. is you have the tagline, "Become a better human."
Yeah.
What's the philosophy behind that? What made you pick that as a kind of a tagline for your business?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like, I think the whole range of motion fitness is still evolving. Obviously, we could look at it and we could say it's fitness related because it's in the title, so it's about moving. We could kind of combine everything and say range of motion because it is about ultimately doing exercise that improve your ability to move in different directions. But I think become a better human leaves the door open for a lot of things. I think the take home message with my page and the material that I give to people is empowerment. And I think it's the ability to be able to help yourself move and feel a whole lot better, and making things simple enough for people to understand. If you're able to be empowered by the message that I give you, what are you going to do? You're going to be willing to share it to other people. You're going to become a better human. You're going to allow others to become better because you are sharing as well. And I think it kind of encapsulates all those things. I think the hidden secret message with my page and everything I do is about making everyone else better at being people. Again, if you can move better, you're going to feel better. What does that do to your mood? What does that do to your emotions? that makes you a happier, better person. It makes you someone that's less likely to yell out some outside of your window at somebody that cuts you off and stuff like that. You're going to be more productive. You're going to be more helpful. I think, again, movement has so much power to do so many good things. And I think once people are able to feel a little bit better, they're able to move a little bit better. And I think it just is going to be a healing effect all across the board. So that's where that came from.
No, definitely. Because the thing, I mean, if you look back about maybe 15, 16 years ago, when the fitness industry, especially here in Northern Ireland, you have had people coming up saying, hi mate, my shoulder's sore, or my leg's sore, or my leg does this when I do that. And often not, you didn't have the tools. And a lot of coaches didn't have the tools. I remember even young coaches, you would go, my back's sore when I do that. And they would kind of go, maybe you didn't warm up enough. And it was a kind of major gap in knowledge. And you're right, when someone's trying to either lose weight or improve their health or improve their ability to go in for sport, you get injured and no one knows what's going on. As you say, you feel powerless. The great thing again with your material is you name it, you name the problem, and you go, does your hip do this? This is the name, and then you like a paint by number system. You go through how to literally fix it, which I think.
I mean, that, like, I've never really thought of it as paint by number, but that the nuts and bolts to it. The goal of all of this stuff is to be simple. Because believe it or not, I mean, this kind of information is out there and it's been out there for a while, right? The problem with it is it's almost like this competition between the person delivering the message and the person listening. The person delivering the message often just wants to more or less like prove that they're smarter or they're more educated. They want to take all of the power themselves. And maybe they're just nervous when they're talking about it. I don't know. But it puts you in a position where you're either going to do what they say and it works, or you're going to do what they say and it doesn't work. And that takes all the power away from themselves. They're just kind of like a tool to it all. And that's not the way that it's going to work. For me, like, we have to be on the same page. There's not going to be a straight line to you feeling and moving better. But if we're not working together, if you don't feel like you could do it for yourself, then we're not going to go anywhere, and this message is going to be lost. So the goal is to keep it simple enough so that you can understand it, so that you can feel like you do it, and then you could be consistent with it. And then the beauty behind all that is we know more times than not, if you are consistent, if you've chosen the right drills, it's going to work. You're going to feel better, and then you're going to tell everyone about it. And like I said, we're becoming a better human.
Yeah, no, definitely. And that's the thing. I mean, again, going through this again, you could easily be sitting there going, this muscle name, and the words, and this is the insertion. You literally make it down into bite-sized chunks that someone who maybe doesn't know anything about anatomy or physiology can literally go, I know what you need me to do to get better or improve.
Yeah, and again, like, I'm gonna throw this back to like what happens in our own house. I mean, my wife just made the decision for this to be a homeschool family a long time ago. And one of the things that we learned right away being a homeschool family is our three kids, they do not learn the same. You know, one of them, you could throw a book at them, bam, done. Everything is done. The other one, everything has to be in song. The last one, again, we have to do everything with horses. The take-home message here is that everybody learns a little bit differently. I think everybody really wants to learn. It's just the message and how you give it to them. And people ask all the time, well, why are there so many posts? Why are there so many this? And it's because I have to find different ways. Everybody's going to get their attention taken in a different way. So we have to try to reach them where they're at and not just tell them in the one way that we know. We have to experiment with different visuals, videos, lectures, whatever the case may be to get the message across. I mean, the take home is it's for you and not just for everybody else. And we just got to find that way to connect with you. So I think that's the thing, is it's keep it simple, but keep the doors open to how you teach the people.
No, definitely. When you were working, obviously you were working in a regular gym. Was it difficult going from in basically working for someone else to becoming your own boss?
I don't know, honestly, because I worked at a gym where I got to be a trainer, and I think as a trainer, you have like a lot of independence. You at that time, like, I'll just throw it out there. I was at 24 Hour Fitness, and they still didn't have like a whole lot of structure. They did have a formal education process, but they didn't like teach you how to work with each and every single person. So I got to use my own creativity. I got to use my own education and put my plans together. And as long as I was productive for them, they just kind of let me go and kind of do my thing. I think that as they grew as a company, naturally their restrictions and how they wanted things done started to kind of funnel, and you had to do it a certain way. And I couldn't be bound by that anymore. And I think that going out and becoming my own businessman without the internet was pretty difficult, because you have a lot of great talents, but you got to let people know about it. And I couldn't wear all of those hats. I couldn't provide all the service and do all the marketing. It just didn't work like that. So having the Facebook, being able to be creative and display some talents has been tremendously helpful. And having the ability now to be able to work with athletes on the other side of the world from my own garage is a beautiful thing, because people could see on a regular basis the value that I present. Then they can make the decision, and then it's just about creating systems that are easy to work with and easily understood for people. So yeah, I mean, it's been a learning experience, but I've never given up on my confidence to help people whatsoever.
Um, that process, what would you say would be one of your biggest lessons in starting to work for yourself or becoming your own boss? What would be one of the biggest lessons you would take away from that
Oh
process?
man, that's a tough question. I think it's the same thing that I had when I was a little kid. I mean, you have a dream, you just continue to chase it. I think that having passion and having love for something is it's not very scientific. I don't know that we really have a formula for understanding why somebody loves something, why they have a passion for it. And when you have that kind of that when you're going to bed thinking about it, when you're waking up thinking about it, it's something that you need to continue to follow. And we have to remember that, there are no straight lines to success. You have to keep chipping away, even when, like things aren't going your way, you have to continue it. And fortunately, like I have an environment and a support system here that even when things weren't working out well, and we had like 20 subscribers and on our page, and we had nobody was coming to our shop. My wife was just like, it's just keep going, just keep going, there's something special there, just keep going, just keep going. And we don't know why it happened the way that it has, but it's kind of ultimately turns into what we thought it would be. And just keeping that belief system, and people have been able to understand that we have something really good to help people with and offer to the world.
Oh, definitely. You probably get asked this a lot. I know you work with athletes as well as obviously just the average Joe, the average Jane. What would be one of the most common injuries you normally come across?
Oh, okay. All right. Good question. Okay. And there's going to be a lot of people that hear this and say, hey, that's me. Okay. So generally, the conversations that I get start off with, ow, my shoulder hurts. Oh, yeah. Oof, I've had some back pain. As a matter of fact, I have some back pain right now. And then we start talking a little bit more. And the number one injury that most athletes and non-athletes share is a sprained ankle.
Right.
And traditionally, this is a sprained ankle that wasn't treated real well, a sprained ankle that their coach, or their dad, or whoever told them to get back into the game and keep moving because they have another leg, and we just kind of neglect it. The injury that creates the most problem for people is an ankle that never really healed and doesn't move real well. Creates a lot of back, knee, hip, and shoulder pains. So that's kind of the average kind of like history that I see.
Yeah. And basically, obviously, the modern world. I mean, this gets through quite a lot about our diet and stuff like that. There, I know obviously, I often liken the modern world a bit like a gilded cage. We create this um, almost like a human zoo. We've got all the food at end of our fingertips. We can pick up our phone. You can order pizza, no problem.
Yeah, sure.
We can work from home. We can spend most of
Yeah.
what would you say would be the main issues facing us today in the Western world, even physically, and how or what simple fixes can people do to avoid them? So what would be the main issues for modern living, and how would you
I mean,
fix that?
that's a good question, and I think like the traditional answer is too much sitting, and I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I don't know if I necessarily agree with the whole sitting is the new smoking thing. I think it's easy for us to kind of see a chair and know that people have to spend more time at a computer, have to spend more time behind a steering wheel. But the thing is like, what can we do? This is, you and I are both sitting in chairs right now. And when we're done with this call, I'm going to stay in this chair for probably another 4 hours. And I was in this chair for 3 or 4 hours before this. We can't avoid it. And I don't think that when people give this kind of message that you just got to stand up and you have to move, I think it's partially correct. But I think that we could stand wrong too. You know what I mean? I think that the idea is that we need to teach people what their body is supposed to be able to do. And then we have to learn how to use our bodies a little bit better. You sit behind a desk, there's things that you could do. Stagnation, not moving, is a bad thing. Getting stuck in one position for too long is a bad thing. There are simple things that you could do while you're in these positions to help you avoid problems from recurring. We can't just say, hey, don't sit anymore, but because we live in a technological world and we have to. But the problem more people are facing is that they just get unconscious about these positions that they're in. I think once people are aware a little bit more of what their body is supposed to do and kind of how to take care of this, it allows you to be able to, adapt to different positions and move a little bit better. I mean, who's to say that like in the Stone Ages, the Neanderthal man wasn't suffering back pain because, they climbed trees the wrong way or they sat on rocks too much? We can't sit here and say that at all. We're just kind of picking on one thing because we see it happening a lot. I think the goal is to teach people their capacity and give them a better way of maintaining their body. I mean, somewhere along the lines, you and I both had a dentist say, hey, you need to brush your teeth every single day, all right? You need to do this for a couple reasons. Number one, your breath is going to be really bad. Number two, you're going to get cavities. And number three, you're going to have to come back here. And what did we do? We brushed our teeth because we were afraid of having to go back there. We didn't want bad breath because you know what that means. But we didn't want to have to go back to the dentist. And I think that we haven't done enough in terms of giving people the tools that they need to avoid sitting to being a problem. I mean, we're designed to be able to do this. We have to do this. And I don't think people should really feel like the stress that sitting is such a bad thing when we're forced to do it. I just think that we need to do a better job of conveying the message that there's another way that you need to maintain yourself.
Yeah, no, that's great. I think the way you put across that is a really good way, because you do hear there was that TED talk where I think the title of the talk was "Sitting is the New Smoking," and if you're as a person tuning into something like that there and you're watching it, you're going, "Oh, my job's in a call center." As you say, you're going to be putting yourself under a lot of stress to go actually moving more. But I think it's great the way you kind of phrase it. It's kind of like we have to sit, but we need to kind of figure out a more healthier way, kind of balance.
Yeah, I mean, look, Jonathan, like think about it. Like, who taught you how to walk? Did anybody teach you how to walk? No, nobody taught you how to walk. How do you know that you're doing it the right way? You don't, right? I mean, we're both fitness enthusiasts. We're both trainers and coaches, and we know that you can run the wrong way. You know that you can injure yourself with a certain style of running. So since walking is really just kind of a regression of running, how do you know you're not walking the wrong way? And we don't worry about that, right? So I think that we need to kind of go back and maybe, in our formal system of education, we don't teach sports like badminton and football and tetherball. We teach people a little bit more about anatomy and how their body is supposed to move. We get across the idea that if you're supposed to brush your teeth every day so that your teeth don't fall out of your mouth, that you need to stretch your hamstring a little bit more so that you don't have back pain when you get older. I don't know why there's such a like disappearance or there's such a distraction of knowledge, but that should be the way that we get people. Again, if the whole principle is to get people to move better so that they feel better, to give us a better planet, it just kind of makes a little bit more sense, you know?
Yeah, definitely. One of the questions, again, this might be like come across as a silly question. What movement should humans be able to do, and whatever that movement is, or maybe rephrase that, what movement should we be capable of, but we're not in today's age, that you see is kind of like, well, we should be able to do this, or is that maybe a bit of a silly question?
I don't know. Like, I mean, because everybody is so different, everybody has different needs. I think that's kind of the beauty of our body, is that we're such adaptive creatures to whatever we do. I would say the number one single most important movement that we should be able to make, that we need to make to be able to function and create so many better links, is the ability to hinge our hips. Now, if you're in the exercise world, you'll know hinging your hips as being able to deadlift and be able to take your hips and bend them and then extend them. And I think when we look closely at all the movements we make in life, that's the number one secret hidden pattern that's in everything. So I think when we're talking about applying the corrective exercise process and we're going into more of a movement phase, if we had to just pick one pattern that was especially important, it's trying to teach that hip hinge. Because again, if your hips are able to rotate, we're able to move your spine the right way. If your hips are able to rotate, we're able to move your legs the right way. And then we can kind of start to connect the dots a little bit better. So I think that again, that's an important skill or movement pattern to kind of teach people right away.
Yeah, and because that works the same way with basically bridging as well.
Oh yeah, I mean that ability to extend your hip is kind of, it's really what I'm talking about. Again, when you look at the most common postural deviations that we see from athletes all across the world, it's typically pelvis that tilts too far forward. What does this indicate? They're not able to extend their hips real well. They're not able to hip hinge real well. It means they're probably going to end up using the muscles of their lower back, their upper back, or their neck, maybe even their hamstrings. They're going to try to come up with some kind of compensation. And that's really the beauty of the assessment process, is seeing that postural deviation and then trying to figure out where they're moving from and then trying to go back and correct that so everything stays in sync, to try to avoid stress in various parts of your body that end up leading to, ow, this hurts, or ow, that hurts, and then giving up.
Oh, that's great. Basically, obviously, current circumstances, as everyone's kind of aware, is 2020, and there's a pandemic going on. What's the past 6 months been like? Have you just kind of carried on with things, or has it been a bit?
Yeah, I mean, like from our household status, it's not a whole lot different, because like I said, I mean, this is the house I grew up in. We're a homeschool family. We had a home birth, so it's kind of like business, hospital, education. And again, like this is where everybody is all the time. So for us, this isn't, much of a change. Now, I think initially, because my page has been around for a little bit now, and I've communicated with people all over the world, I saw like what we do on there as a platform to really help people, because I knew like right away the importance of gyms and fitness studios and just being around all the people there meant to a lot of people. And I think that like I saw that as an opportunity, not just to send our brand out there, but to help people, to inspire, to use this time as a way to build themselves back up. Because we know at some point in time, to some degree, life is going to come back the way that we know it, we've used it. Well, otherwise, we're going to adapt in one way, shape, or form. Yeah. But I wanted to be able to give people the opportunity to say, I'm stuck at home, and I know that there's some things that I should have been doing all along. Here's how I can address them. Here's how I could do little things to make myself move and feel a whole lot better, so that I can get back out there and I can be active in the way that I want. Because, I mean, to be honest with you, nobody sits there, and let's just pretend it's not the pandemic, and we're not sitting at work all day thinking about getting to the gym so I could stretch my hamstring. No, nobody dreams about that at all. Nobody is coming to see you as a trainer and coach say, man, I really hope that we could stretch my piriformis today. It doesn't work like that, Jonathan. I know that it doesn't, right? but we know that as coaches, trainers, educators, that we know that we need our people to do that. So I saw this kind of brief window of time here where if people could get this message, they could take care of themselves, and then they could make that jump back into fitness, and choose a path that's going to help them move and feel a whole lot better. Because again, I understand what it's like to have fitness taken away from you. I've worked with athletes for many years who have had injuries that just can't do, what they used to do. And I could see what that does to them emotionally. I just kind of felt for people all across the planet at that time that, this is my chance to help them. And there's some days where we put up 40 or 50 posts. There's something for everybody every single day to keep them motivated and inspired.
Yeah. And are you, I know California, I think the restrictions are still in place. Is that right?
Yeah, we're in the Riverside County. So like right now we're in the purple tier, which purple tier is about as bad as it could get out here. I don't know exactly what that means, but I know recently gyms have closed again. Restaurants are restricted to like outdoor eating, kind of minimizing some of the specializations that we can get and stuff like that. So it's kind of been up and down here. It seemed like we got a little bit better for the first 6 months or so. There was nothing going on. We could only go to a couple different stores. Our son is an essential worker, so he was out every day. But other than that, everybody was pretty much locked up. I don't think we've made a whole lot of progress as far as the pandemic out here. But like I said, for us being fitness people, we always find a way to do what we do best. So
you had an interview with it was an online website, Box Rocks.
Yeah.
And they posted a quote from yourself, which was really great. Don't mind, I'll read it out. Basically, you said you have to be relentless. You have to try to do the little things, because if you don't, there is another person out there who will be ready to steal all the dreams that are bouncing around in your head. If you could go in, because I really like that quote, if you could go into a bit more detail about it, if possible, what are the little things and how can we be more relentless?
Yeah, I think, again, those are echoes from my dad and my uncle from a long time ago. And I think, those little things are the things you're just going to have to kind of find out. Like, whatever your craft is, it's those little questions that you need to answer for yourself. It's like I mentioned, like it's putting more effort into things. It's getting up earlier. It's staying up later. It's never having enough. Like for me, like I share a lot of information, and people are always remarking how, well, you should have people pay for this. You should charge for this. And it's like, I just see this as me giving my information and then having to go and get more and finding more ways to communicate, getting smarter, spreading the word just a little bit more. I think that it's a natural thing when you're in love with something, when you're passionate about something, to have that kind of relentless attitude. And I don't mean being better than the next guy. It just means trying to advance what you do the best. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I say quotes like that are really good, because I think that's the thing. We can, when we're wanting to go after something, it's very easy to kind of, I'll take a day off, or I'll have an extra lie in today, and it's very easy, especially if you're working, you're a 9 to 5 and you're doing a wee side project you want it to take over.
Yeah. I think when we talk about passion, I think, like I kind of mentioned earlier, passion is not, I don't think it's a scientific thing. I think it's just something where, like, yeah, man, everybody has to take a day off at some point in time. But it's like it stays in the back of your mind. Whatever your dream is, whatever whatever it is that you're chasing, it doesn't leave you. It may take a quick vacation, but it doesn't leave you. I don't think the person that like has to work all the time is a person that's necessarily a passionate person. They might just be a person that's programmed. But I think a person that's truly passionate about something is always got that inside them to kind of give back and to kind of explore their opportunities, their dreams at any time,
Yeah, no, definitely. You obviously, you mentioned you do a lot of obviously you do a lot of online work. What does your typical day look like, and do you have a typical routine that you follow each day?
Yeah, as much as I just got done saying, just work, 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 work. Being at home, being part of the COVID thing, I'm up and I'm started like at 2 o'clock in the morning, like every day. I take appointments Monday through Friday, starting at 3:30 in the morning to 7 p.m. A lot of my stuff is creating new content. I do a couple of live videos like every day. It's constant posting. It's constant program building. It like I do have to answer a lot of questions. I'm on in doing things with the family all the time, so I'm kind of always on my phone, answering things and kind of moving forward. But the thing that is constant all the time is getting up and getting going like right away. Having that first couple hours where I could just kind of focus in on, what are the problems? What do I need to solve today? What kind of content can I create? What material, what messages kind of need to be sent for the day?
Yeah. No. Can you tell us a bit more about, obviously all your services are online. Can you tell us a bit more about what services you offer and the products you offer as well? I know you do, there's one on plantar fasciitis, which is a really good one. I recommend that one to my sister who suffers from it. And you also have a great one about weak links.
Yeah. So I have a few digital products that are out there that help people with a lot of common issues. Like you mentioned, there's how to self-treat plantar fasciitis, which is a huge problem for many athletes all across the world. And I've developed a 9-week program that allows you to assess and then go through the whole corrective exercise process of getting the right muscles to loosen, how to find out what's tight and overactive, and then how to work on releasing it and then progressing it back into fitness. And they all kind of follow the same format. There's the ultimate shoulder, which obviously in the title it talks about the shoulder, but I do a pretty good job of teaching you how to link it to other body parts so that you not only are going to get your shoulder to feel better, but you're going to get the parts around it to move better so that it doesn't take on the stress. A training manual for correcting weak links is pretty much like, that's the secret weapon right there. Like if you get that and you kind of follow it step for step, you're going to be able to rebuild your posture, and you probably won't need my services quite as much because you're going to get a lot of secrets that I share with people when I meet with them one-on-one. But essentially, there's a few tests that you're going to do in there to kind of find your posture types, and then you're going to get all the progressions and regressions of exercises that you need to reinforce good posture. I have the ultimate hip plan, which is out there, which kind of does the same thing, but just focuses on the hip, kind of allows you to go through and self-assess your pelvic deviations, the ones that you may have, and then gives you the corrective plans and programs that you need to follow to help put yourself back in a better position. The Ultimate Mobility Library is my classic, which pretty much just gives you like a wide smorgasbord of mobility exercise that you could do. I mean, I try to help overcome reasons that people can't do this stuff or say that they can't do this stuff. I try to give them tools where like you only need a chair, you need a wall, you need 35 seconds to try to get a muscle to loosen up. You don't have to go buy a special piece of equipment and be in a special place. And that's kind of what a lot of this material is. But the ultimate product and service that I offer is the Body Blueprint. Essentially, what I do with that is collect a bunch of information from you, have you do some simple measurements, give me some pictures, and then we meet via Zoom or Skype or whatever it is, and I assess you head to toe, and I build you plans. I build you a daily plan like we kind of mentioned before, where it's going to help relieve muscle tension where muscle tension needs to be relieved on a daily basis, kind of like a toothbrushing thing. And then I build corrective routines to help you restore proper alignment so that you can move and feel a whole lot better. And a lot of athletes have gotten it for very specific reasons, whether, it's, competitive rowing or CrossFit or a football player or whatever it is. I make it as goal specific can be. So that's kind of a few things that I offer.
And you also offer a mentor program as well. Yeah.
Yeah. So the mentorship, it's going really good. It's pretty fun. Basically, the nuts and bolts of that is I give you my secrets. I give you all of my secrets. Most importantly, what I do is figure out what level you're at and then teach you how to teach to your people. Like we were kind of mentioning in the opening, the goal of personal training, the goal of my position with you is empowerment and to make you feel like you could do something to help yourself. So instead of teaching you big words and long names and long processes, I try to make everything simple so that you can kind of understand what it's supposed to be about, but then you could relay the information to people. The mentorship is 6 sessions. It starts off with 6 sessions, but essentially what I do is walk you through the whole process of having a person come to you, say that they're in some sort of pain, teach you how to go through the assessment process and then how to break the body up into chunks and then design and create corrective exercise plans and programs for people that are in need. It's pretty fun because everything, again, is taught at your level. You come to me and you have a certain specific population that you work with and you know it and you need to know how to help them. I teach you based on what you have to offer and what you have to offer them. So again, no two persons program is the same. Again, everyone has been unique and it's been a lot of fun and there's been a ton of success with it so far.
Yeah, it's basically it's like adding to an instructor or coach's toolbox and also helping refine that as well. Basically.
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot that I offer people that people have never been exposed to. So it does broaden the toolbox, like, kind of analogy. I think the thing is a lot of times, like, as trainers, coaches, we don't know where to start with people. You know, whether it's just a regular fitness person or a person that's coming in and complaining about some sort of injury or pain. And I think, like, it's necessary to be able to gather information from people and to make the whole experience personal, teach the arts and crafts of how to assess a person and not do it in such a crazy, like, invasive way, but to do it in a way that's pretty involved. And it's us exploring you and trying to figure this out together and teaching simple patterns and positions and kind of what they mean. And, you know, it's almost like I'm giving you my skills so that you can give them to somebody else. Again, the arts and crafts of assessment is it's really just exploration, and making it simple is really the key.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it's great that, because I think you get a lot of people who maybe reach a certain high level and they're like, oh, I'm going to keep all the secrets for myself. But it's good that you're going, where are you at? And I'll add on to that so you can become even better at coach.
Yeah. I think that's an important thing right there. Like what you just said is, like, I kind of made a decision a long time ago that my page and the message that I'm going to send to people is about, like, I'm not going to hold any secrets. I'm not going to hide anything. I'm going to give you everything that I know, because I know that forces me to go get more information and to find a new way to teach it. And ultimately, it's kind of selfish in my way because it's going to make me better. You know, I know that, like, you know, working at a gym, like, you know, you have trainer A and trainer B, and a lot of times they don't want to share information with each other because they're afraid that business is going to get stolen from them. And I take the opposite of that. It's like, okay, here's what I know. Now I got to continue to put myself on another level by going and getting more information or seeing the world in another way. And I think that's been my philosophy since day one, since I was a little guy, and it's going to continue to be. I think that we have to keep pushing that envelope. And I think, honestly, if more people did that, you know, we'd all be a whole lot smarter. We don't have to hold back. We can unleash it. And why not share it with the whole world, right?
Definitely. What's next then for you? What is any new products coming out or any new ventures?
You know, I don't know. Like, I'm starting to get much more involved in groups and working with larger whole boxes and whole gyms and different teams now. So that's going to kind of be a focus on, again, how to kind of simplify the assessment process. So one coach or one group leader could look across the room and know how to work with multiple people at once. I'm always working on different programs and packages of deals to try to help people bottom out, like, what they need for, you know, themselves to make themselves move and feel a whole lot better. I'm actually working on, at this moment, a program that's more fitness related. a simple kind of almost like a blueprint of what you need to do from the time that you walk in the door to the time that you end your fitness session, from a quick assessment to choosing the right exercises to creating a more strength-based program to your cool down and everything. So there's a lot of kind of creative circles going on in my head right now.
Brilliant, excellent. Did you know when that program will come out at all, or is it still in the early stages?
The aim for that is going to be the end of November. But at the moment, our garage, I'm literally like right now, just so you know, I'm speaking from a closet. So I'm in a closet because our gym, aka the garage, is being remodeled. My wife has Raynaud's. She gets really, really cold. So we're having it redone, insulated and everything. Got a lot of nice stuff going on there. So I kind of have to migrate from room to room, which makes this truly a mobile business. But that's the aim. I have like probably 200 videos shot, probably about 150 of those edited, but it's not everything that I need. So I'm kind of holding off until that's finished to knock everything out and then start kind of broadcasting it just a little bit more. What I really want to do with that is I want it to be a program that lasts for a whole year for people. So my goal is to kind of to put it out there in phases so that we can go through different phases all together. And I want to put it out in a way that it's not just do what I say. It's here's what you need to look at. Here's the little test that you need to do so that you can make the decisions about the exercises that you need to do. And then just kind of program design it so that it fits the phases that most people need as they kind of go through fitness and rehabbing, prehabbing, and all that good stuff.
No, brilliant. So, and I know obviously we're pushed for time today. So, under our last question, what would be the best or worst advice you've ever been given?
Oh man, that's a good question, and I think I'll just kind of share like a moment in my history and in my life from actually took place in this room right here. And I think one of the things that's kind of stuck with me the most, when I was in probably the 6th grade, I wasn't doing so good in, say, like a math class or something like that. And my dad was called in to do the parent-teacher conference. Normally it was my mom because I was always doing good. So that she just got to see the benefit from it all. I went in there and this teacher he told my dad, he's like, look, this guy, Jeremy, he's smart. He has a lot of potential. And I just don't know why he's not pushing himself. He kind of wants to be a class clown a little bit more. He's not up to par. He's just not doing his work. And my dad was one of these guys, when he got mad, like you knew it. Like he changed colors, right? And he would do a lot of pointing with his fingers. And this guy's fingers were like, they were huge, right? And I didn't want that. And I sat there trying to be Mr. Tough Guy, like looking at him, just waiting for him to like explode. It didn't happen in front of the teacher. It didn't happen on the 5-minute ride home. I'm thinking, man, maybe I just kind of skated out of this one. We got inside the house and it says, sit down for a second. I'm like thinking to myself, here comes the fight, right? Yeah. And he just starts off by telling me, you need to get better grades. And I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm getting a C. C is passing. And he tells me, he's like, look, you know what the guy at McDonald's makes that's flipping the burgers? He said he got a C. He's average. Is that what you want to be? And if that's what you want to be, then that's fine. Then you keep doing what you're doing. But if that's not what you want to be, you got to put some more effort into it. And I think that just kind of echoes in my head every time I think about not putting effort into things, every time I think about maybe slacking off a little bit. I have that little moment that it's my decision whether I want to do more or not. It's my decision whether I want this to be successful or not. It's my decision whether I want to be a good husband, wife, father, businessman, friend, whatever the case may be. I get to make that choice. And I think that's, I guess, I don't know if that's advice or not, but it's a moment that like I think we can kind of look at and say, hey, yeah, it is our choice whether we want to do something or not.
Yeah, no, I think that's a really good piece of advice. And I think it is, everyone can take something away from that, because it is very easy kind of go, oh, I'll just sail through that. I don't have to push myself on X, Y, Z, and that'll get me through. But I think that can then become repetitive, you then take that attitude towards everything, and
Yeah,
then sail through everything. And as you say, you end up mediocre, and not
not getting what you want out of life. You know,
my
that's
life.
ultimately
Yeah.
what it is. Ultimately what it is.
So, Jeremy, if anyone wants to get in touch or pick up some of those programs, how do they get in touch with you?
The best thing to do, like I do have a website and I do have an email address, but I just make the advice to everybody, just go to Facebook and go to romfitness.com or to tag it romfitness, and that you'll find our page. If you don't find it there, just go to www.romfit.com and you'll find the link to our feed right there. I just recommend going to our Facebook page so you can kind of see what we're all about first, the messages that are getting sent, and maybe there's something useful that you could get. You don't even need to buy any of the material, but at all times, like, send me a message if you got any questions, comments, concerns, and I'm more than happy to help at all times.
Jeremy, thank you so much for coming on today. I really appreciate it. You're very busy, so I do appreciate you coming on and chatting with us. So thank you.
No problem at all. It was great. It was great to have a chance to talk with you and just kind of share with what we've gone through and how this is all going for us. So thank you.
No, thank you.